I know Dooho Choi, you know Dooho Choi, but I feel like a lot of the new fans, the post-COVID fans who just got into the UFC, they probably have no idea who this dude is. What do you think?
Probably, Derek, and I'm glad you said something before that. We got two Choi's on this one
Yeah.
because most people probably know Sting. Dooho is also very, very dangerous.
Not just very, very dangerous, man. If you if you look at his last 10, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He went on a 6-fight KO streak. Then he had the Hall of Fame fight with Cub Swanson that he lost. It's not literally inducted into the Hall of Fame. Knocked out against Jeremy Stevens, knocked out against Charles Jourdain, got a majority draw against Kyle Nelson right there. So, where did I mean, are we apples to oranges? He did a draw against Nelson. Algeo got stopped against Nelson. Trajectory-wise, who are you favoring in this matchup? I'll decide.
Ooh, trajectory-wise, Derek, it's hard not to still go trajectory-wise for Bill Algeo. I see more of a future in his kind of career and path he's taken. Unfortunately, Dooho Choi just doesn't get the respect he deserves, even with a Hall of Fame fight, like you're saying.
Yeah. But then again, you think about it, you're like, all right, the Hall of Fame fight was in 2016 against Cub Swanson. Listen, if you're fighting dudes who was back in WEC or whatever the case may be, let's pump our brakes a little bit. But this dude's definitely got some heat under him. We just have to take a look at the big board right now, man, and let's be real for a second. Featherweight fight, 33 years old. Not bad for Choi. 35 for Bill Algeo. So this is another one of those where we got some of the smaller weight classes, but they're getting up there in age, man. Both high-level strikers. That's the only problem that I see here on Choi's side. I think Choi is such a vicious striker. I think the striking defense is the part that needs to get cleaned up. But guess what, AJ? Same thing for Bill Algeo. So is this a war of attrition? Is this a matter of who gets their clock cleaned first? Like what's the big X factor that differentiates these fighters?
I think the big X factor, Derek, with both of these style of fighters is who's the one that's going to stay calm and stay technical longer, right? Like if you're right, if you're Dooho Choi, chin starts popping up, hands start getting a little wild, right? I can see bad things happening. And again, on the Bill Algeo side, that we've seen that chin get tested, and you're right, he didn't go down, but he started crumbling, hands start dropping. We can see flaws on both sides. It's the one who's able to breathe a little bit, calm down, find those moments and hit your shots. That's who's the ones who's going to take over.
I'm looking at well-roundedness in this one. That's really my main thing. I look at Choi, vicious striker. We know this. This is not uncommon knowledge. But if both of these fighters can get knocked out, then I have to start thinking about what's the second level of damage. And for Bill Algeo, for Choi, it's takedowns, right? He can get you at a takedown. For Bill Algeo, though, man, it's the jiu-jitsu, right? So it's being able to just kind of mix things up and use jiu-jitsu to get back up to your feet, things of that nature. Versus Nelson, if you watch that Nelson fight against Choi in that first round, man, Choi just throws like a lazy kick, gets spun around. Nelson takes his back, picks him up, and drops him on his head, right? And I'm just like, it was one tiny mistake that changed the whole trajectory of that round. If Bill Algeo can do that, but Choi can't do that to Algeo, then we're thinking along the same lines there. So ultimately, what I think about this matchup right here, the plays that I'm thinking about is I'm thinking distance plays, right? I like the over in this fight, which if you take a look at what it is right now, back up to the big screen, you will see that the over for this fight is 2.5 rounds. It's minus 180 for 2.5 rounds, which is another one of these, man, where similar to, I mean, listen, this is the same exact odds as the main event. So similarly, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh man, minus 180 for over 2.5 rounds to go the distance on this one. You're not seeing a ton of Bill Algeo knockout fights. Choi hasn't been able to get that crazy knockout streak or anything like that, man, since back in 2016. So you kind of want to bank on a decision here. Am I right?
If you're not banking on, excuse me, if you're not banking on a decision, Derek, you're definitely banking on that minus 180 over 2.5. I know the fight's almost over, only 2.5 minutes left in the fight, but still, I think that's the highest outcome for sure.
So one more question for you here, AJ. And the question becomes, if you're a Dooho Choi and you're saying, man, I really need to win. Like, I really need to win. I'm on a 3-fight losing streak, and then my last fight was a draw. I got to get in the win column. I might not be able to go zombie style and just say, come here, what's up? Someone's getting knocked out. Like, you can't just do that, right? So that's why I'm also saying decision, because I think he's going to be a little more tentative. I need to win. This is livelihoods on the line. Algeo, on the other hand, I don't think he's in a I need to win type situation. I think that he can lose and still be like, all right, you know what? We can live the fight another day. So I think that the ability to balls to the wall is more on the Algeo camp. I think the tentativeness is going to be on Choi. I don't want to discount Choi, and I want you to let me know right here, AJ, am I overlooking Choi? Am I taking a recency bias and overlooking Choi here?
No, I don't think so, Derek, because I agree with you on the approach that Choi needs to take. I just think I would use different wording. Instead of tentative, I'd be a little more methodical, right? Slower and
Sure.
more methodical in the way he's going to fight. And that's how I see Choi actually winning this fight, is staying calm, finding his moments, and actually testing that chin of Algeo. But you're right, Derek. It goes back to what you were saying before. Algeo does have more path to move forward. This needs to be the moment for Choi. So the gas needs to be hit and taking that approach.
That was much more eloquent than I ever could have put it. So shout out right there. Those are it's another contentious pick, but that is your pick right there for the opening bout of the night over here, UFC Vegas 94.